What's up, everybody? Hey, this is the training video all about the personality analysis. So I know that hopefully you have completed the personality test and chatted with me about your results. It doesn't matter what personality you are and how you attack problems or problem solve or figure things out. Every personality is valuable. One of them is not more valuable than the other. We are going to just go through some of the things so you can kind of see what you might be like. And then I'm trying to use this to develop things to help increase your drive here, or help motivate you to stay with us longer or get more deals done. I'm also trying to help the company grow within our company to just enhance the training modules and then maybe enhance everyone's lives around me. So I don't know if that all made sense, or I probably just rambled a bunch, but I am trying to make sure that everyone has a place here, and every personality is different. And this one's not the be all end all personality test, of course, but it just does give a little bit of insight into who you might be. And then also helps me try to figure out how to best serve you. Without further ado, let's kind of move on. Okay, so we have our four styles. During that test, you probably got LA or LB or RA or RB. All that really means is where you are at on this spectrum. First thing, though, really quick, I want to make sure that everybody understands. One, your personality does kind of morph over time sometimes. And then number two, it does kind of change depending on the scenario or under stress. So take that into account. And then number three is we will have people on our staff that are kind of ambiguous. You might have where that test, there isn't a way for you to get exactly even on anything. So you're either going to be 5 and 4 or way off on a different side, of course. But there isn't a way to be exactly the same. So you're always going to be put into one of the categories. That's just the way the test is written. I kind of like that because that makes it so that you're not trying to guess which one of those you are. But also kind of realize that when you do have maybe a 5 and 4, you're pretty ambiguous on one of those sections. Or maybe even you have a 6 and 3. I've been seeing a lot of other people take the test, and they've got a 6 and 3, and their personality really is a position that I wouldn't have been able to identify right off the get-go. And to me, that's because of that ambiguous nature of that person, where they kind of fit different roles. And so I hope that just kind of shows you a little bit of light into you, and I hope that you don't take this too serious or anything. I just want to enhance everything around the company. Okay, so let's talk about the, well, first I'm going to go to each slide after this, but really quick, the analyticals are the LA. If you are a LB, you got amiable. If you're a RA, you got driver. And if you're an RB, you got expressive. All right, let's move on to this slide. So we have analytical strengths, and then I'm going to kind of show you strengths from each one of these, and then how those strengths can be weaknesses if they are overused. And then that's all that we're going to share on this. It's not going to be a deep dive or anything like that. I really am just scratching the surface. If people enjoy this, then we'll do more, of course. So if you are an analytical, you have some of these strengths. You are logical, systematic. You like systems. You can do systematic processes. You're very thorough. I like this thorough because you actually start to look at every option and really evaluate that. You are prudent. I had to look this up. I didn't know what that meant, but you're thinking for the future as well. So taking into account what actions you do and those choices you make, and how they impact the future. And then analytical, you tend to be serious. I know plenty of analyticals that they're not serious all the time. So this isn't like something that you need to take for, this is the book on it, So you don't have to fit every single one of these, of course. Okay, some strengths for a driver. You're very efficient. You're going to make choices really, really quickly. You're decisive. Like I said, you're going to make that choice quickly. Pragmatic. I had to look that one up as well. So you're sensible and realistic. So I like a driver's way of thinking because you may have 100 ideas, but 85 of those are not realistic and they're never going to happen. And a driver can easily get rid of 85 of those and get them off the board so that you're really only looking at 15. So I like that about drivers. You tend to be very independent, which is really, really cool. And then candid. I like having drivers around me that can be candid and straightforward. Of course, in this business and in our company, I always try to tell people that you have a voice and that you can speak up and we can change things. I would assume that a lot of our drivers are able to do that. So if you're not capable of that, you're not a driver or you don't have that in your wheelhouse, maybe emailing me would be easier. I do want input from every staff member because everybody has value to add. I feel like the drivers in our group are more of the people that are outspoken and usually telling me things. So I'm encouraging everyone to take that opportunity. If something isn't working for you, and I don't know what that is, but if you can let me know, I want to change things and make it better. All right, up next, amiable strengths. I like amiables. These are like the lovey people. This is really how you can have group success, and so we have to have amiables with us. But amiable strengths, you're very cooperative. You're very supportive of each other, of ideas, of working together. You can be very diplomatic, which is really awesome in a group scenario. You need a little bit of that diplomacy so that people can work together. You have a lot of patience, which is awesome. I probably need a little bit more of that in my life. And then loyalty. I feel like amiables, if I can get you to start closing transactions, we'll create a relationship that will be for life, and that would be awesome. So I'm excited. Okay, let's talk about expressives. If you haven't figured this out, I'm fitting into this category. I got RB for the personality that I have, and it was very clear, cut and dry. It was not ambiguous at all. So expressives can be very persuasive. Can be very enthusiastic about things, very outgoing. These are like your people that go out into parties or into a group scenario, and they really get along and chat with people and start really finding out about the group. They can really generate that conversation pretty much out of thin air. These are your spontaneous people, your fun-loving people. So if you haven't noticed, a lot of our training videos may feel this very expressive way. And that's just because of who I am. Maybe one day when we have other trainers and other managers, there will be other training videos that have a different feel and a different perspective on things, which I think will be great. While I've been learning about these personality traits, one of the things they talk about is bringing together many minds to make all of those decisions. And I'm finding it to be more and more effective and successful to do that. So one day there will be more video content about all the things we do, but in a different personality, which I think will be kind of cool. So anyway, those are some strengths from an expressive. All right, let's move on to an analytical's potential weakness when all of those things that we talked about as strengths, if they're leaned on too heavily, they can really become a weakness. So an analytical personality can become indecisive. I've been told that this looks like having somebody in the weeds about a decision. They just cannot get out of the weeds and literally need somebody else to pull them up out of there to get a decision going or to get them back on track. An analytical person can get really nitpicky about things at times. They can become really impersonal where they just draw into their office maybe, or they get into the numbers and they just never come out of that file. So those are some things to look at. And then they can be very bureaucratic at times, very kind of by the book, which is great. When we need that, we need by the book often in real estate because that's how we keep our licenses. But sometimes the bureaucratic way doesn't amount to looking at something in a new light and coming up with new options. So that's why I'm saying we need all of the personalities on our staff. Okay, driver potential weaknesses. Like I said, these are those strengths that eventually become a weakness if it goes too far. They could become a poor collaborator. I've been told a driver can, at times, and this is a weakness, bulldoze everyone down, and that's just not the way to get things done around here. And so that's that poor collaborator. They could become impersonal as well. So you can kind of see a similarity there with analyticals and drivers. They kind of maybe they regress into their own shell or whatever. They can be very abrasive. So if you've ever had somebody come hard charging at you, they're probably using their driver personality, but it's gone too far and they can be kind of abrasive. And then short-sightedness with a driver, because they're making those decisions so quick that they might not actually be making good decisions. So they can be very short-sighted in that. All right, amiable with those potential weaknesses. They could be a conflict avoider. If you know people in your life that are like this, as soon as they have tension or you feel frustration, they just withdraw and they just avoid that altogether without getting in there and making a decision. They are risk averse sometimes, and that can be that weakness. So maybe there's room for growth and they won't go there because they just don't want to have any risk. Permissive, I feel like this one is a true weakness with an amiable or with people in general. When you let things happen let things happen just with you or around you, and you're just permissive to all of that. My example might be that you have a client that takes advantage of you. I want you to feel like you have the strength to be lovable and kind to people, but your clients shouldn't take advantage of you like that. So being permissive, that's a weakness in my opinion. And then inattentive to the task. So an amiable can get off task if they're maybe avoiding the conflict or avoiding risk. They might not be attentive to what's going on. All right, expressives, potential weaknesses. Like I said, this one's my category for my personality. So being a poor listener, if you know me, I really have to be like focusing on you and watching your lips move. Otherwise, I'm not really listening. It is very hard for me to focus in on that. I try to do my best at listening, and I've been told told many times to try to focus on that. And so, but expressives can be poor listeners. They just tune things out, or it's not very entertaining, and then you just aren't listening, stuff like that. An expressive person can become impatient. So maybe you're not making choices, or things are going poorly, or you get frustrated. We can become impatient and like, hey, we need it now, now, now. Impracticality or being impractical for an expressive, I think, becomes a port, or not a port. It becomes a part of that person's life when maybe the growth idea is not practical or reasonable. Say we wanted to try to grow to $1 billion next year. In my opinion, that's not practical. One day we may be there and grow to that size, but right now that's not feasible. So a weakness of an expressive could be that they've set their sights too high, and that's just not realistic. And so maybe we bring it down a little bit. We always want to be aiming high, but aiming too high gets kind of it just kind of ruins things in the person, I guess. Okay, and then we can be distracted pretty easy. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm looking all over the place while I'm doing this video. I'm trying to stay focused, but it's easy to distract an expressive personality. Okay, and then that is the very last slide. So I'm going to back up real quick to go do an overview. So we do have those 4 styles. I know that there are tons of personality tests out there, like the color test. They do have the 16 personalities where you might be a consul or manager or executive, stuff like that. Or maybe you're looking at the DISC personality model. So there's a lot of stuff out there. This one in particular, I feel like I like it a little better because it's just easier to see. And then the test that is given with this one can be done in minutes. Super easy to assess yourself and maybe those around you. So I just like that one a lot better. But we do have those 4 categories. So if you got LA, you're an analytical. If you got LB, you're an amiable. If you got RA, you're a driver. And if you got RB, you're an expressive. Now, real quick, if you want more information about this and you want to read a book about it, I'm going to get up really fast. If you want to read a book about it, it's right here. People, Styles, at Work, and Beyond. So I've been in the Goldman Sachs course, and that this test and all the material came from that. Okay, well, I hope you got a little insight about who you are and maybe those around you, how we can work better together, and how we can continue to grow the company. And then I'm most interested in figuring out how to help motivate everyone and how to have more high energy, and then how to incorporate every personality in our staff. So I love you guys so much. I love this company, and I think we're going places, and we're continuing to grow, and I want to do that with everyone that's around us. All right, we'll see you later.